Hi, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad to be here with all of you and to wish you a very, very happy Earth Day. So wherever you are, I hope that you are enjoying today, and we are here to celebrate Earth Day and to create a crystal grid. So if you have never done a crystal grid before, don't worry, you can watch this and then you can always do it at another time. And you can also take notes. You can watch this again and again. And I'm really excited to just share with you just the properties and the love of crystals as well as a crystal grid. So as you're coming in, just say hello. Let me know that you're out there. And let me know if you've ever done a crystal grid before. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments. And if I don't answer them on the live, I can go back and then answer them at another time. So hi, everybody. My name is Tina Conroy. I'm a Reiki master at the Center for Wellness and Integrative Medicine. And I'm here with you to share the healing of a crystal grid. And crystals are one of my favorite things to talk about. I like to speak to them as crystal beings because they are crystal beings from the earth. They are from the core of the earth. And the earth right now is really in need of healing. So we are here together to heal the earth and to send out healing for ourselves and for others. And that will be what the crystal grid is all about. Before we do that, I want to just go ahead and clear. So I'll be kind of using my camera here and showing you a little bit of what I'm doing. And we're going to just go ahead and bring in some vibration of sound. We're also going to bring in some clearing of sage. I'm going to show you how I do my crystal grid, but I also want you to know that we use intuition. So we use our intuition to create a crystal grid. So how I'm doing mine today may or may not be the way you want to do it. So we'll talk about intention. We'll talk about how to create it, or why it's sacred, and all of those things. So before we do that, I'm just going to go ahead and just bring in some sound healing for all of us. So if you just would close your eyes with me, and let's take a nice deep breath in and exhale away. And again, nice deep breath in and exhale. And one more time, deep breath in and exhale. And just sending love and vibrations to everybody here watching live or later on the recording. Many blessings. We call forth blessings and peace for this world, for Earth Day, for each and every one of us as we hold each other in prayer and healing on the highest, highest good. And so it is. So we're going to move ahead, and we're now going to go ahead and sage our space. So what I'm working with today is I'm going to show you some different ways that you can do a crystal grid, and it can be very super easy. I'm going to be using my sacred cloth, but you could also be using a small top of a shoebox, or you may even want to use a tray. And I have a tray here as well. So I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can do it. This is just a regular metal tray. You could use any kind of tray. It has a little bit of depth, but not too much. Obviously, the top of the shoebox is pretty easy to find. This is a small top of a puzzle box, or you can use a sacred cloth like myself. So first you want to have a base of some kind. You can also just have a beautiful blanket or a towel. So it's anything that you want to place the crystals on. And before we do that, we want to go ahead and sage our space or smudge our place, the space that we're going to use before we lay the crystals on. And I also want to do that to the crystals and the things that I'm going to be working with. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and burn some California sage. So this is a bundle of California sage. I'm just going to kind of burn it. And again, I'm just using intention to clear our space and to clear the intention. So I'm going to go ahead and just clear the base because I'm going to be working on this base today. So I'm just going to kind of just clear this space. You can see that I'm just clearing where the crystals are going to be. And also, just so you can see it, I have my crystals over here. This is all the crystals that I'm going to be using. So I want to show you. So these are all the crystals I'm going to be using. I'm using some flowers today. I'm using some beach glass. And I'm also using some seashells. And I'll tell you all about why I'm using that. Okay. And so once we've cleared it with intention, we're just going to go ahead and put this away. And I want you to think about what your intention is. So this one, the one that we're doing right now, is an intention for healing and health. So the crystal grid that I'm working with today is healing and health. And again, you can do many different kinds. So before we do that, now we want to think about our intention. So we've just go ahead and cleared our space. We've kind of cleared our crystals and all the things that I've used. So I've kind of, like I've said, I'm going to be using beach glass. I'm going to show you why. With a couple of crystals here, I'm clearing my sacred space. And now I want to think about intention. So when we think about intention, we want to think about what do we want in our health, okay? So this may be individual for you. So I would just go ahead, and what we do is we start with writing out our intentions. So just having a little piece of paper, and you're just going to write out your intention. So again, this crystal grid is for health and healing. You may be wanting to do a crystal grid for abundance. You may want to do a crystal grid for something else. But because we're doing health and healing, you're going to go we would write down intentions for health and healing. So that again may be, well, what brings health and healing? So we want to say, we want to bring forth peace. We want to bring forth health. We want to see the whole world and the earth healthy. Ourselves, what brings us health? Well, exercise. So you might want to write down exercise, drinking water, eating healthy vegetables and greens, staying positive mindset. So you might want to write all those intentions down or goals for your health, and then for the health of the planet. So thinking about the health of a planet, you can be writing down allowing the COVID to disperse, to everybody to stay well, everybody get back to work, obviously abundance. So you would write all those things down. And if you have any questions, just go ahead. I'm going to be looking at the chat as well, and doing the best I can to kind of also navigate that. Hi, everybody. So you're going to write the intentions down for your health. Again, it could be personal health. What do you see in personal health? Obviously, today is Earth Day, so we want to find peace and we want to find well-being, peace of mind, releasing stress from the planet, stress from ourselves. And obviously, since we are working with what is going on right now in the pandemic, we want to let that go. We want to release that. So you would write those things down, and then you would just sort of fold it up, make it nice and small, right? And you're going to put it in the center of your grid. So today, again, I'm using my sacred cloth. And you, again, could be using a base such as a shoebox or a tray. Now, if you're using a sacred cloth like me, I'm just going to place my intention right in the center, okay? So this is my sacred cloth. It's a blue sacred cloth that I use for all my Reiki work and all my Reiki circles and things like that. And I'm just going to place this right in the center. However, if you were going to be using a tray or a shoebox, you could put that intention in the middle, and then you can cover it. So you can cover this with Himalayan salt and make that your base. I also like sort of the natural sea salt. It has a light pink color. Or you can even just use white salt. You can also do a base of sand if you'd like, and you're going to cover the paper. So that would be the base. I'm making it pretty simple today. I'm just going to do it right on my sacred cloth. Okay. But you can do a base if you're doing a top of a shoebox or a tray. You can use sand, Himalayan salt, or again, like this other pink small salt. All right. So since I'm just going to be using the cloth today, I'm going to go ahead and take our intention of health, and I'm going to place it right in the center. Hopefully you guys can see me. Okay, so I'm placing this right in the center. Now I want to start with the center. And I always start with the center. Some people will teach grids that they start on the outside. I like starting on the center, so I'm going to start on the center. And I'm going to start with my fluorite. So reason I'm using fluorite is a really great stone for peace and harmony. And it has a lot of healing properties in it. So it's peace and harmony and calm. And I kind of just love my fluorite. It has a lot of other beautiful properties in it. It helps with the immune system. It also works with the blood. There's a lot of wonderful things. So this is my very, very favorite piece of fluorite. And I'm going to place my fluorite right on top of my intention. So it's going to go right there. Okay, so now I have my fluorite. So Mercedes is saying, maybe I missed it, but how do I get a sacred cloth? A sacred cloth can be anything that you use. It could be it could be just a special piece of material. It could be a scarf. It could be something that was someone else's that they gave to you. You create a sacred cloth because you use it. This particular one was given to me by my Reiki master teacher, and I use it all the time for my altar. So it's just something that means something to you. It could be anything that you like, Mercedes. So I'm going to put that center here on my sacred cloth, unless you're using the top of a shoebox. And now I'm going to kind of build around it. Okay, so I'm going to kind of start from the center out. Now I'm going to go ahead and use Lemurian crystals. And this is a clear quartz crystal. You could tell it's pointed. And we want to disperse the energy out. So I'm going to just go ahead and place it all the way around. And these are activators. These are master activators. So I'm just going to kind of place them all the way around. I'm just going to kind of put it like this. I'm just kind of working with the stones. And I want to amplify the energy out. I'm doing the best I can. I don't have one of those cameras. So we're just going to amplify the energy out all the way around. So I have my fluorite in the middle. This is a Lemurian clear crystal, and we're amplifying them all the way around. You can kind of see it. I'll bring it back here so you can see it. Okay. And let's put a few more pieces here. And here. Okay. So now we have our fluorite in the middle, and now we have our whole crystals here. Okay, so they go all the way around. Now, this is for health and healing. So we have our fluorite. We have our Lemurian crystals that's going to generate out the beautiful energy of healing. Okay, we have our intention underneath. So we wrote our intention. Now we want to just go ahead and add to it. So to add to it, I'm going to add some flowers. So I just go ahead and I just got some flowers to show Earth Day and Mother Earth. So we're going to just take a little bit of flowers, and I did these earlier, and I want to place them right in between. And again, I'm just doing this because it's something I enjoy. There's no big rhyme or reason, just that I chose them for different reasons. So I'm putting all the flowers around. Okay, so now I have all my flowers. I'll put one here so you guys can see. Okay, so now I have my flowers. Now I really love, so again, we're doing Earth Day, and the fluorite is like the green. It reminds me of the ocean and the beautiful colors of the earth. We have the beautiful daisies, right? So we have daisies because spring is here. We have the amplifier of the Lemurian crystals. And because I want to keep commemorating Earth, I'm going to use a little bit of seashells. And plus, I love the beach and I love seashells. So that's part of who I am. So I'm going to put some seashells actually in between. And I just literally have like a bunch of seashells and glass. This is sea glass and seashells. So I just kind of found what I liked. And I'm just going to find those seashells, and I'm just going to find them around. And again, you can do it any way you want. This is being very creative, and you could be playing some beautiful music. Your intention of healing. So I'm just going to put some seashells around. Okay. All right. So let me check in. All right. So we have the fluorite in the middle. We have the Lemurian crystals all the way around. I have my flowers, and now I have a little bit of seashells. I'm going to check my questions now. Okay. Hi, everybody. Oh, I'm so glad. Hi, Ellen. Hi, everyone. So haven't done a crystal grid before. Hi, Debbie. How are you? Oh my God, I have learned so much from you. I have all these items for my grid. Awesome. Okay. Yes. And again, these may not be the ones that you want to use, but you can, right? You can use twigs, you can use petals, you can use many different things. All right, so now I want to continue to build my grid. All right, so I'm going to just put my camera back down. Okay, so now I have this. I want to create, I have my seashells, I have my Lemurians coming out, and now I love beach glass. So I'm going to create a little beach glass, and I'm going to put them more in the corners. So I'm going to put them more in the corners like this. I'm just going to place my beach glass all the way around. Let's see. And again, there's no rhyme or reason. It's just what you like. Okay. All right. So I have my beach glass. Let me switch this piece up. Let's see. I'll go like that. Okay. I have my beach glass. I have my fluorite. I have my Lemurian crystals. I have seashells, and I have my daisies for spring. I want to have my corners to ground. All right. So I want my corners to ground. So I'm going to be using hematite. We need to be grounded, especially in this time. So I'm going to be taking my hematite and I'm going to put them on the four corners of my sacred cloth. Again, if you're using a top of a shoebox, you can have them around your corners, right? So again, if I'm using a shoebox, you can cover this with, you can fill this with sand, you can fill this with salt. I love salt. I love Himalayan pink salt or just table salt, whatever you like. And so if you want it more of like a tray, you can do it like that. But if you're doing it like a sacred cloth like me, you're going to do the four corners. Okay. So now I'm just going to go ahead and take my hematite. So I have a couple of hematites, and this is the very, very grounding stone, and we need to be grounded. So I'm just going to go ahead and play around. And I'm going to put them in the corners. So let's see if you can see. All right. So I'm going to put them all in the corners. So the corners of the hematite, this is hematite. And I'm going to put them in the corners of my sacred cloth. They're going to go in the corners. All four corners. Okay. All right. So what do we think so far? All right. And just so you know, you can make any crystal grid you want. So there is really no rules. So I'm going to share with you, you want to find the things that you love. You want to find the crystal that you want, your intention. So remember, your first thing is setting your intention. So our intention, just to be clear, is for health, is health and healing for ourselves and for the earth. So that's why I'm using the fluorite. My intention is underneath. So remember, we want to kind of stay with this. All right. Now, from here, I want to still add. So my rule of thumb is that you don't add too many crystals to your crystal grid. Again, there are people that do a lot of different crystals. I think if you do too many crystals, it confuses the crystals and it gets a little confusing because they're competing for their different energy. But if you like to put a bunch of crystals, you can go ahead. I'm going to use only, I think, 4 crystals in my grid. So I've used the fluorite. I've used the Lemurian crystals. And now I'm going to add my amethyst. Okay. So let's go ahead and add my amethyst. So as you can see, I have my center, I have my generators, which are coming out. I'm using my daisies, my seashells, my beach glass, and my hematite. But really right now we're only using 3 stones: fluorite, clear quartz crystal. These are Lemurian clear quartz crystals, and hematite. Now I'm going to add my amethyst. Okay. Beautiful amethyst. So I'm just going to go and add this. So I have greens, blues, and purples. Okay. And I'm just going to add my amethyst in just different parts. So I'm just going to kind of find what I like. I'm just going to kind of go around because that's just me. This is very, very relaxing to do. Again, like I said, you can play different music. And let's put one over here. Let's see. Let's do that. Okay. All right. So let me show you. Can you see? Okay. So I have my fluorite. I have my clear crystals coming out. I have my beach glass, which represents the ocean to me and just beautiful. My seashells, right? My hematite is my grounding corners. And of course, I have my flowers. All right. Are you still with me? Okay. So Doreen says, love this. Sarah says, great to be here. So glad to be here. So does anybody have any questions right now? And again, if I don't answer them live, I can answer them later and go back in. All right. So We've created the grid. We've created what we like. We stayed with our intention. Now what we're going to do, and what I particularly like to do, is I'm going to add essential oils to it. You don't have to do this, but because I'm an aromatherapist and I love working with essential oils, and it is Earth Day and the oils are from the plants, which is part of Earth Day, I'm going to add some essential oils to my grid, okay? And I'm going to be using 2 essential oils today. Let me just find them. Where did they go? Hold on. Here they are. Okay. So the 2 essential oils that I'm going to add to my grid are eucalyptus and rosemary, okay? Now, why did I choose eucalyptus and rosemary? Well, I chose eucalyptus and rosemary for very specific reasons, and especially because of this, because what we're going through with the virus. So eucalyptus and rosemary are very, very healing for the respiratory system, right? And so we're going to go ahead and sprinkle eucalyptus on. So eucalyptus helps with respiratory, stimulates the red blood cells, and increases oxygen to every cell of the body. So I'm going to go ahead. These are aromatherapy grade oils, and they're kind of just in a little dropper. And I'm just going to drop it around, and then I'm going to drop around the other side. Okay, so this is eucalyptus first, and I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And again, if I wasn't teaching, I would be, so I'm just going to drop some around with some intention. You could be playing some really beautiful chanting music when you do this, right? I'm just going to kind of bring my hands over it. And now I'm going to do the same thing with rosemary. So rosemary is very similar to eucalyptus. It helps with respiratory and also does all the things that eucalyptus does. But what it also does, it helps boost our mental energy, and it also enhances memory. So it's good for clarity and mind. So now I'm going to do the same thing with my rosemary. Just a few drops. This smells so good. Okay. All right. So I've made my crystal grid. I have my intention under the center. I've infused it with my essential oils. Why I'm using eucalyptus and rosemary is specifically for the respiratory system and to kind of keep us healthy, especially now during this situation. And now I want to think about, we want to activate it. Okay. So Mercedes is saying, if I use a shoebox, the intention paper goes under the salt or under the center stone. So good question. So you put down the salt and then you put the intention and then you put the stone on top. Yep. So you would put, hopefully that makes sense. Yep. You always want the intention right underneath your stone. So put the salt, then the piece of paper, and then the stone on top. Okay. So now you've made your crystal grid. And actually, even before you make it, you want to figure out where do you want to put it. So it should be in a sacred place, a place that you really enjoy, a place that you're going to see on a regular basis, a place that maybe you meditate at, or a place that you can pass often in your day. And you want to keep it out for about 40 days. Okay, so that's usually about the rule of thumb, about 40 days. And every time that you go over to it, you're just going to be intentional of what your intention was. So again, this one is healing. So this one is health and healing. There may be other ones that might be abundance or other things or relationship, but this one's health and healing. So you want to make sure you do that. Well, now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and activate it. So because I work with Reiki and I'm a Reiki practitioner, I'm just going to activate it with my hands. You can also just activate it with your hands and just activating it with intention. So we're going to do it, and I'm going to show you another way that we're going to activate it. So first, I'm just going to go ahead, and now I want to activate my crystal grid, okay? So you want to go ahead and use any quartz crystal, but you want it to have a point. It's very important that it has to have a point. So hopefully you can see that. Okay. So if you don't have something like this pointy, like a wand, you can even use something like this. It's a little bit of a duller point, but you want it to be a point because it's a generator. And I'm going to use this one. This is a selenite crystal. The selenite is a wand. So now what I want to do is I want to activate from here to every crystal, right? So from here, I'm going to kind of go around every single crystal. right? And I'm going to start at the base, and then I'm going to kind of work my way in. So I'm going to touch every crystal, going around, getting all the crystals. Just the crystals. You don't have to touch the other items because it will be activated. Let me get the hematite over here. Good. And now you want to bring it from here, from center. So from center, we're going to come out, center to the amethyst, center to the quartz, right? And just keep going around like that. Touching each crystal, activating your crystal. I'm doing each one. I'm getting the hematite over there. It doesn't matter which way you go. You usually go the way that's natural to you. I'm just activating with the point. So remember the point of the energy. Energy goes where intention flows. Intention flows where energy goes. So I got every single one. Good. Okay. And then I'm just going to kind of bring my hands, right? And I'm just going to activate. And then because I'm a Reiki master, I'm going to place this in and I'm going to Reiki it. Okay, so I'm just sending love and healing and intention to the crystal grid. And if you're doing your crystal grid, I'm going to bless your crystal grid. And I'm just going to continue to bless it. Good. And now we want to kind of put in an affirmation. So we're just going to use an affirmation. I am healthy. I am well. I am supported. I am healthy. I am well. I am supported. I am healthy. I am well. I am supported. And then you can continue to run some Reiki energy on it or do some blessings. If you're not a Reiki practitioner, that's okay. You've activated it. And that's your crystal grid. So that is the making of a crystal grid. And again, don't get caught up in exactly how it all has to be. So the biggest thing is intention. What is your intention with the crystal grid? If your intention is health, then you want to think about crystals and things that bring health. Today's Earth Day, so I wanted to bring in some flowers. I wanted to bring in some seashells, and I wanted to bring in some sea glass. You may do Earth Day, and you may have different colors. So you can do it in a big round kind of situation. You can do in squares, and you can do crisscross. It's sacred geometry. So we're creating sacred geometry, and in the sacred geometry is where our intention will be. So I hope this is really helpful. I'm going to stay on and see if you have any other questions, okay? So if you have any questions. Okay, so I'll go back. So where does the salt go? So if you're not using a sacred cloth or just a scarf, I'm calling it a sacred cloth because the more you use it, it's become sacred for you. If you're not going to be using the sacred cloth like I did, you're going to be using like a shoebox. And so the salt would go at the bottom. Okay, so you put the salt at the bottom. Actually, let me show it to you like this. We'll make it simple. I'll do it this way. I'll show you another way. So if I was going to use this, right, you would just put your salt at the bottom. Okay, so that's my pink Himalayan. You can also do it this way. So again, everybody's different. And then here would be your pink Himalayan salt. You'd have to have your intention. So it's the same thing. You'd have your intention, and then you would have something on top of your intention. So if you're doing salt, you're going to put salt on the bottom, and then you're going to put the intention, and then you're going to put your crystal, whatever, on top. Now you want to do it like that. Does that make more sense? Hopefully that makes more sense. So does that make more sense, Astrid, if you're still with me? Thank you, thank you. Need to get more stones, use the ones from your workshop. Yes. So what you want to think about right now is that what kind of stones would you want to get? So think about, you want to get, especially if you're doing crystal grids, you want to get small stones. You want to get stones that you can place. So it depends on how big your grid is. If your grid is only this small, then you don't want to get too big crystals. So you want to get stones and crystals that are small so that you can create a beautiful sacred geometry, a shape. The center stone can be bigger, and it can also be even maybe a magnifier. So it depends. It doesn't have to be round like mine. It could be very tall and slender. So think about other stones that you want to get, or think about the ones that you really like and you feel gravitated to. What about the crystal grid cloth with the geometric figure? How do we interpret the geometric shape? Why the geometric shape? So I don't use that, Mercedes, but you can. So people do sell the crystal grid cloth with the geometric figure. And so there is really you don't have to interpret it. There's absolutely no interpretation. There's people out there, the internet now, and they're selling geometric shapes, grids, and they're beautiful. And you can just put them anywhere you want. So there's no rhyme or reason to it. It has created a geometric figure. Like sometimes it's a hexagon or a decagon or all those different shapes. And then you can just put your crystals wherever you want. Yeah. And I like the geometric figure, but I like to be more free form and I like to create my own. Does that make sense? Hopefully you guys, that made sense. Hi, Lisa. Hi, guys. All right. So any other questions? I know some people are not obviously going to be watching live, so they might have some questions later. So that's the crystal grid. I'll be doing more little workshops like this, and I'm so glad that you guys are tuning in. Where can we buy crystals? Okay. So if we weren't in the situation we're in, I would say to go to particular crystal stores and actually go and touch them and feel them. But if you right now are wanting crystals or stones, the best thing to do, I really like a website called Energy Muse, M-U-S-E. I have no affiliation to it, but I like that one. Also, you can go to Amazon. And so when you get your crystals, even if you get them from a store, because right now we can't go anywhere, you want to clear your crystals and you want to clear them with sage. The other thing I did not mention, if you don't like burning sage, or maybe somebody in your home or house doesn't like the smell of it, or maybe they have asthma, something like this, and you can't burn smoke, or maybe you're in an apartment building and you can't burn smoke, you can also use rose water. So early on, when I kind of saged everything, if you don't want to do that, you can do rose water spray, and that'll do the same thing. So just know that sometimes people don't like to burn things, or they can't burn things in their home, especially if they're in apartment buildings, things like that. So right now, Mercedes, what I would say, or Durain, is you can buy them online. You can go to Amazon. You can go to a website, Energy Muse. But when things open up, then you can want to go to other stores. There is a store in Huntington. You can contact me and I can give you her name, and you can go there. And there's a bunch of places in Manhattan, which I love too. So right now you kind of want to be safe. So I would just go ahead and buy them online. Laura says, this was great, but I need to give this one thought. Thank you. Yes, definitely. So this is not something that you're going to kind of show up with and you're going to have all your things. I think it would have been really hard because everyone's going to have different crystals and different things. So take this information and then go ahead and choose, how do you want to create a crystal grid? And if you want to create a crystal grid for health and healing, then go ahead and what is your intention? For me, I wanted flowers and seashells and beach glass. For you, you may want something else. You may want twigs. You may want roses. You may want leaves. You may want sprigs of lavender or herbs in your crystal grid. You may, excuse me, only want crystals, and you may not want, flowers and things like that. So this is a time when you create it, you want to, again, really be in that intention. Have some beautiful chanting music playing or beautiful music playing. Be in that presence. Be very mindful. All of this work, this kind of creative work, as you do it is very peaceful and very mindful. And so it's also another way to kind of de-stress and to allow yourself to find healing in the moment. So I hope you guys really liked it. If you have any questions, just go ahead and leave it in the comments. If you're watching later on the replay, leave it in the comments. If you have any other questions under that, just message me, find me. And it's my pleasure. I'm sending you so much love and so much healing. And happy Earth Day, everybody. Namaste.